Well, I hope you all got your second pot of coffee going, or you picked up a couple Red Bulls like I did after work, because it's going to be a late one tonight for the Edmonton Oilers, where a very stoppable force meets an incredibly movable object in the Edmonton Oilers taking on the San Jose Sharks. Hello and welcome to Oilers Nation's Pregaming with BORDZY, presented by Sherwood Ford, live from a different version of the Sports Closet studio. If you couldn't tell, I am from the BORDZY Palace itself. It's the first one I'm doing from home. So I got some new digs behind me. As you see, I'm always never pointing the right way. I'm just not going to do that. A little Oilers pennant behind me there. A little Edmonton Trappers pennant right there behind me. So let me know what you think of the new digs. But I see my first YouTube chat comments of the day from Jake, as he said, don't forget the Sharks are 1-0 in their last game. Could be a tough one for the Oilers. Jake, I don't think anyone is taking this one lightly. I think everybody's pretty panicked about this one. Darian said, if the Oilers don't win, I'm going to burn my jersey. So we're getting it from all over the place. And then I see Master Uguay said, can anyone here help me pay my rent? Maybe the man who's joining me tonight could help with that. Mr. Tyler Yaremchuk. Tyler, are you there? There you are. Can you help pay Master Uguay 35's rent?
I mean, I hope so. We're not quite at the Betway segment yet, but I mean, man, I don't know if I want to pay my rent if the Oilers lose this hockey game tonight.
Yeah, that's pretty fair. Tyler, what do you think of the new digs behind me?
I like it. I dig the setup. I like the Trappers banner. You're a baseball guy. You spend your summers down at Remax Field with the Riverhawks, so it's nice there. And the little vintage Oilers banner, pretty slick as well. I think maybe we got to get you one of these, though. Get you a little Hope Will Never Die behind you.
Yeah, I think so, too. I need the little Canadian Tire logo. That's right. I can't do this pointing thing. This pointing thing is way too difficult. But hello, everybody, and welcome. It's almost rock bottom time. It is not rock bottom just yet. It very well could be, as the season feels like this has gotten as low as it could possibly go. Thank God San Jose got their first win of the season, Tyler. I know our boy, producer Gavin, who is behind the scenes. Shout out, Gavin. He was incredibly worried about the Sharks not getting a win before this game because the jokes, they straight up kind of write themselves. I've already seen a ton of memes. And speaking of which, I have an incredibly accurate depiction of tonight's matchup. So, Gavin, if you could throw this one up for me. This is absolutely everyone in the NHL has been talking about tonight's game. Everyone in the Pacific wants to see who's going to come out of this toilet bowl, as I titled the episode properly today. I am nervous. Today, the boys on Leafs Morning Take, Nick Alberga and Jay Rosehill, they spent 5 minutes talking about the Oilers. There was no need for them to talk about the Oilers. They just had to get their chirps in. So, Tyler, everyone has their eye on tonight's game.
Yeah, in a really sick, twisted way, everyone has their eye on tonight's game. I know friend of the network, Pete Blackburn, he was watching that Flyers Sharks game earlier in the week, and he was like hoping and praying that the Sharks wouldn't win because he just wanted to see them beat the Oilers for their first win of the season. Honestly, if you would have told me at the beginning of the year that this is what we were going to be walking into for the game against the Sharks, I wouldn't have believed you. On one hand, yes, it's still very early in the season, but on the other hand, if you don't win tonight, like, there's no hope, man. I know our slogan at the Nation's always been hope will never die. Hope could die if they lose this hockey game tonight.
Yeah, it really does feel that kind of way. I know a lot of fans are feeling that way. Some people have already given up hope. I will never give up hope. I could still be down at rock bottom. I'm a sick pup, so I always think that there's a chance. So you're telling me there's a chance. But does them having one win, it's a weird question to ask you, but does them having one win make you more or less nervous? It makes me less nervous because the memes, as I said, we're going to write themselves. There's a comparison right there up on the screen. Tyler, what's your take?
For me, I don't know. Like, I think you could read this any way you want to. If they didn't have a win yet, it would be like, hey, listen, these guys do not have a win. Just pedal to the floor, kill their will early, and you got them. The fact that they have a win now, sure, maybe the Sharks are sitting there with their feet up a little bit going, we got one. We aren't the worst team in NHL history, or we don't have the worst start in NHL history. Or maybe they won one and they're like, son of a bitch, we can do it. And if that's the case, look out, because the one area that the Oilers have or one of the many areas the Oilers have been up and down in is the effort column, Aaron. We've talked about the give a shit meter so many times throughout this season that If the Oilers don't bring the effort tonight, I mean, the Sharks could very well do just that. And the Oilers will beat them in the skill department every single day of the week, 10 games out of 10. But it's the NHL. No game is a given. And if the Oilers don't bring it in the effort department tonight, it's going to be a close hockey game. And even a close hockey game is unacceptable tonight.
There it is, Gavin. I loaded that one in before. I love that you pulled that up. That's how I've been feeling doing this show pre and post for every single game. Just sitting there in our host chair being like, no, it's totally fine. We'll still get Stanley Cup. I still have the parade route planned. But hey, hope will never die. Tyler, as well, the nation vacation is going to be heading out to Seattle tomorrow. One question, are you packed already?
No, because I need to pack up all of the equipment I'm currently using, and then I have to do ON every day tomorrow. So I can't pack until about 1 o'clock tomorrow, and I got to leave to the airport at about 2:30. So it'll be tight. It'll be tight, but I'm sure I'll get a handle on it.
I see Gavin in the chat said all capitals. Nope. Buddy, last minute packing. You're going on a sports trip. But included on that sports trip, you're going to see a Seahawks Commanders game, right? Everybody knows Geno Smith versus Sam Howell. What more could you actually ask for? It's an afternoon game for you guys, right? So I think that means extra tailgating time. You can become the 12th man.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I've been to a handful of NFL games in my life. They are always an unreal atmosphere, but you always hear the stuff about Seattle and how loud it gets in that building, and it's a big game for them as well as they try to kind of hang on in the NFC. So yeah, it should be good.
I see somebody in here said, we need the romper. Are you packing the romper with you?
Oh, honestly, yeah, I probably will. I don't see it in my closet, though, which is mildly concerning. Maybe someone sabotaged me. I'll find it.
I don't think anybody else is willingly putting that outfit on. I think you've kind of stamped your ownership on that claim right there. But I love the romper. If you haven't seen Ty in a romper before, check social media. It's quite the thing. And it's a rally romper. It gets the people going, Ty.
It is only for when the Oilers absolutely desperately need it. And win or lose tonight, they absolutely desperately need a win on Saturday in Seattle. So the romper is probably coming out for that hockey. If the Oilers win tonight, romper comes out Saturday because I want to keep the good vibes going. If they lose, I give up. I'm not wearing it.
Yep, I like the idea of switching it up. And Tyler, we keep talking about how the Oilers need to switch it up and how insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. Now, I know there's like a lot of people out there that believe that, they don't believe in superstition or we as fans can't affect the game. Well, they don't know that to be 100% fact. So, Tyler, I want to take this time to apologize for not living up to the name of this show, Pregaming, on this program. So I asked you to do a little bit of homework before, and I asked you to grab yourself a nice bottle of Crown Royal. And I think we got to get ourselves going. We got to get the boys going. I also have my Connor McDavid shot glass here as well.
Oh boy.
A little bit of that going. A little ASMR. So if you want to join us, follow along at home if you want. I can't stop you. Tyler and I are both at home. So the late one tonight, Ty, cheers.
Let's hope the post games. Oh, look at that. That's a cool little like woo.
Woo. That's what I'm talking about.
That'll fire you up, Bordsy.
I even plan ahead. Got a little cola here.
That's how you pregame for Oilers Sharks on November 9th.
That's right, baby. A little 8:30 start. That's pre-gaming right there. Okay, I feel loose. I feel better. I feel ready to start a Stanley Cup run and a parade. Let's get into the Sherwood Ford Giant storyline. And for me, this isn't rock bottom, but it's the step up from rock bottom. I hate to admit it, but straight up, I think if we lose this game, I think all Stanley Cup hope might be lost. I think Jay Woodcroft could very well be fired. Trade talks surrounding Darnell Nurse, I'm sure will start to heat up. And we will have to hear the Eastern media talk about how Connor McDavid becomes a Toronto Maple Leaf for the rest of the season. And I will not stand for that. So that is not going to happen tonight. Gavin, I have my keys to the game first for the San Jose Sharks. Right here, if you can pull that up. This was actually on TV a couple days ago and was a legitimate thing for the keys to the game. The Sharks do not let in 10 goals. Gavin, my keys for the Oilers. Edmonton Oilers need to score 10 goals. I don't know if they've thought this through in the locker room. They're giving them out like candy, the Sharks are. They've already allowed 2 10-goal games. That's my key to victory. And my storyline is those other things. Tyler, what is your Sherwood Ford Giant storyline this evening?
Okay, well, first of all, I want to touch on that really quick because I went and did some research today on Owen Everyday. There have only been 10 games in the last decade of the NHL where a team has scored 10 goals. In the whole NHL over the last 10 years, 10 games with 10 goals. The Sharks have done it twice in the last 12 days. It's absolutely insane to think how bad this team is. My giant key tonight, Aaron, it's pedal to the floor, man. I've made this joke a couple of times now. Jason Gregor and I laughed about it on the Jason Gregor show on Wednesday. But if you're up 6-0, you need to go out there and want the 7th. If you're up 10-0, you need to be out there looking for the 11th and the 12th. And you know what? If you're Jay Woodcroft and David Quinn's mad at you, so be it. You're coaching for your life. You can send him an edible arrangement in the morning. You can shoot him a text after the game and say, hey, listen, man, I might have gotten fired or I'm going to get fired if this team doesn't get back on track. And the best way for the Oilers to get back on track is for them to find their mojo. We saw last year, Frank Saravalli brought this up, 14-0-1 or whatever it was down the stretch, right? Or 14-1-1, that insane record after they got Matthias Ekholm and really got hot. When this team gets humming, they are very, very difficult to stop. And if they can get humming, we could be looking at a team that turns this thing around before the new year. But to get humming, to win, get on a win streak, to win 3 or 4 in a row, you need to start with 1 and you need to find your identity again. This team has lost their identity in every sense of it. They can take a big step. They can take a step towards getting that back with a big victory tonight.
Tyler, as you said, it starts with 1, and I have it right here. You're not looking at the screen, so you can't see what I'm doing. It starts with 1. I've got all my crazy props with me today since I'm back at home, so we got all kinds of stuff here. But you're right. I'll never not have the hope that this team, they can do it. We've seen it happen. The thing is, I keep saying, I say in the office yesterday, were Nick Bukestad and Klim Kostin that good that all of a sudden the same roster is suddenly not carrying over? Because no, I refuse to believe that. But okay, let's get into the Edmonton Oilers lineup. And the lineup report is brought to you by Sherwood Ford, the Giants, Dealer Raiders 2023 Dealer of the Year and 23's Consumer Satisfaction Award winner. They've got it all. They do it all. We know Sherwood Ford's the best, Tyler. We talk about it all the time, every episode. They are the Giant for a reason. They aren't Sherwood Ford the Little. They're the Giant. They are the best. So the Oilers 2-8-1 on the season. Yes, I said that right. Gavin, can we throw the lines up here? Top line tonight. We're switching it up, Ty. As we said, honestly, I love spending 20 minutes on the Oilers lineup just for Jay Woodcroft to go to the blender a couple minutes into the game. It's where the last game he switched it up in 10 minutes. But the spine is out tonight. If you look through your centers there, top line, Ryan McLeod gets called up to the big dogs with Connor McDavid and Zach Hyman. Second line with Dylan Dills Holloway, as everybody in the chat says, with Leon and Warren Fogle. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Then it's Evander Kane with Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Sam Gagner. Gotta love that. That's your third line. You gotta love that. Fourth line of Giraffe Lavoie with James Hamblin and Derek Ryan. Look at that bottom. One of those things is not like the other on that fourth line. We all know what that is. Deep pairings stay the same. Matthias Ekholm with Evan Bouchard. Darnell Nurse with Cody Ceci. Brett Kulak with Vincent Desharnais. We'll start with the top line. McLeod is being bumped up to the top line with McD and Hyman. Tyler, we've long said that McLeod is a perimeter player. We don't necessarily know if he's a great centerman. I thought he might have had arguably his best or better game of the season last game. So I don't know. I like the pairing with Connor McDavid. I hope they play fast and furious, just like Vin Diesel, and they get her going. What do you think of that top line?
Yeah, I like it. So the way I kind of break this down, you're going with the spine tonight, 97, 29, 93, all on separate lines. And we'll get into the Sharks lineup later on in the show, but it's incredibly underwhelming, right? So no matter what, you should always have the best line or at least the best centerman on the ice when you're running 97, 29, and 93 on separate lines. What did you do outside of him? Well, give McDavid one guy who is playing pretty well, and that's Zach Hyman. The effort's always there for Zach Hyman. That duo tends to work well together. You're good. Throw a struggling forward, struggling in the sense he can't score right now, and Ryan McLeod on the left side. Okay, now you got a guy who's looking for a spark, a guy that works hard, and an elite centerman. Second line, same recipe, right? Leon Draisaitl with a guy who's working hard right now in Warren Fogle, who's shown he can score some goals. And then on the left side, a guy who's looking to get going offensively in Dylan Holloway. Star, workhorse, guy who needs to bust out of a slump. And on the third line, it's maybe a little bit of a different mix because Kane is that driver. Kane is playing well. Nuge maybe in a bit of a slump. And Gagne is a guy that goes out there and works hard. So every line kind of has the similar ingredients there to an extent. And again, I think these are trios in a top 9 that could really, really work if the team gets going. Like, I could see a scenario where we're rolling with this top 9 for 3 or 4 games.
I know that's what we do here on Pregaming. We give you hope. And then right after, for Oilersnation After Dark, we go, why did we say all that? But when I looked at these lines this morning, I thought the same thing. Your top 6, I feel like, is turned into a top 9. There's talent spread all over that thing. And God, if we can just get some extra scoring from a McLeod, from a Holloway, if they can be put with some big dogs and get it going, I feel like the sky's the limit. But as I just said, Dylan Holloway, he's been a topic of a discussion for a fair amount of Oiler fans. A lot of people hating on him. Somebody in the chat last game compared him to, or the other game, compared him to Nail Yakupov getting chased by bees. That one hurt my soul. So please don't do that again. But I know a lot of fans think Holloway, I don't know, does a lot of skating and not a lot else. I think he's going to work great with Leon Draisaitl on a forecheck tonight. Fogle, you said, is just an incredibly hard worker. What do you think is going to happen with that second line, specifically Dylan Holloway tonight? Or are we going to see him get yanked off this line 10 minutes into the game?
Yeah, you led me right into it there. What I'm thinking will happen is if the first 10 minutes don't go well, it's blender season again, and that would be incredibly disappointing. What I want to see happen is, one, these lines have success early, because Jay Woodcroft won't break them up if they're finding success early. And two, I want to see them spend the entire game together. I want to see each of these lines get 8, 9, 10 minutes together at 5-on-5. I know the fourth line won't get there. We're talking about the top 9. I want to see a chance for these guys to develop some chemistry here. Yes, I know if they somehow go down 2-0 in this game, knock on wood, Woody's going to the blender. He's coaching for his job again. But if these guys can come out of the gate strong and these lines actually get a full 60 minutes to develop together, I think we're going to like the results. I think the team will be better for it. And not even the long run, the medium run here, the next 2 weeks, just finding lines that you can keep together for a handful of games would be huge. And to get that, you need a good first 10 minutes tonight. So Woody goes, okay, I can trust this. We're up 2-0. Let's roll.
Yep. Genesis said Holla Bay is coming. Man, they just got nicknames on nicknames on nicknames for these guys. Rusty says Holloway with Leon is beautiful. Yeah, I really like that combo. But like you just said, Ty, it has been working going to the blender. So let's try maybe sticking with some consistency tonight. Let's let guys play a full 60 together. Do I say that with any confidence that that's actually going to happen? No, not really, because he's coaching for his job. So he's fighting for every last minute, every goal, every point. So it's going to be a tough one tonight for Woody. And oh my God, do I hope we have something positive to talk about for Oilersnation After Dark. But that third line, we talked about it. Nuge, Kane, Gags. That's a Stanley Cup third line today. Liam had a great point where he said we played the Stars. Their third line had Mason Marchment, Matt Duchene, and Tyler Seguin. And they're able to run that because second-year forward Wyatt Johnson centering the second line. That's what I kind of hope for a Dylan Holloway. But it's nice to see that if that is your third line and those two top lines could score, baby, sign me up, because that is one sick third line.
Yeah, and what you need, though, is Holloway and McLeod to start scoring and giving you good minutes and finally giving you production at 5-on-5. I remember those first 4 games of the year. It was like, hey, both these guys are moving their feet so well. Both these guys, getting looks here and there. They're not converting on them. I was in the camp of eventually your chances go in if you get enough of them. Now we're at the point, 11 games into the year, neither of them's pissed a drop offensively. And I'm sitting there going, okay, maybe it's a finish thing. Maybe it's an ability thing. It might not just be a luck thing. I would love to see them go out and prove me wrong, because I know people get frustrated when Dylan Holloway goes out there and plays 6-7 minutes a game or whatever. But I mean, that last game 2 games ago, not Vancouver, but the one before that, he made a lot of really, really ugly turnovers early on in that game. He didn't play a lot after that. You need to earn the trust of your coach at sometimes, and just going out there and skating really hard up the ice and then firing a shot 4 feet wide, that's not going to do it. If you're Dylan Holloway and if you're Ryan McLeod, You need to skate hard. You need to keep getting in good spots, which I agree they've both been doing. But at some point, the results got to come here because it's no longer just a bad luck thing. You know, if you put me in an NHL game and I got 15 shots on goal, guess what? I'm not scoring them, and it's not luck, it's ability. And not to make that kind of a comparison, but you know what I mean, right? Like at the end of the day, if you have bad finish, Warren Fogle on breakaways, at some point it's not bad luck anymore. At some point you aren't good enough to convert chances consistently.
Yep, and you're talking about skating in wildly and taking a clap on 4 feet wider than that. That's Brett Kulak's thing, okay? We can only have one of those on this team, and that is my boy. But fourth line, as I said earlier there, one of these things is not like the other. You get a good look at that with Raph Lavoie, James Hamblin, and old man Derek Ryan. How many minutes do you expect to see the young guys play? Is that even a line that I just feel bad for the young kids playing with? I love Derek Ryan. Do not get me wrong. He is a fine every other game player, maybe play some penalty kill. I think it's just tough to ask these young guys to come in where I know Raph Lavoie is a scorer, but I don't imagine you're going to get much scoring done playing with Derek Ryan. Tyler?
925 and 946. That's the time on ice report for Raphael Lavoie in each of his first 2 games. And I know this for sure in the Nashville game, and I'm pretty sure it was true in the Vancouver game as well. He scooped up probably like 2 to 3 of those minutes late in the game, late in blowout losses. Jay Woodcroft hasn't been playing him a ton early on. This is one of those things where with a guy like Lavoie, he would be in a much better spot if it was an 11-7 approach from the Oilers in terms of their lineup, because then he's getting shifts with some legitimate talent. James Hamblin, he works hard. He's been a great Bakersfield Condor the last handful of seasons. He's a quad A player at this point. If you're expecting him to drive offense and do all that stuff, it's not going to happen with any sort of regularity. Derek Ryan, same thing. Like if the Oilers could carry 13 forwards, Derek Ryan would have been healthy scratched a handful of times by this point already this season. So I would love to see Lavoie get a chance with some skill, but you also look at that left side and you go McLeod, Holloway, Kane. I don't blame Jay Woodcroft for playing those guys above him either. So getting his feet wet at the NHL level, good. When you're on the ice, try make stuff happen, which I think he's been doing for the most part. I think his shifts have been generally pretty positive. It's just a bit of a shame that there's not a better way to put this. And I see Ken in the Facebook, Lavoie instead of McLeod, switch them. Maybe we get to that point, but Ryan McLeod's a guy who's been on this team for a handful of years. I think you give him the benefit of the doubt for now.
I agree. And just with the pace that Ryan McLeod plays at, we said he's not a centerman. He's a winger. He's a perimeter player. I like this move. But hey, this was me signaling the blender. Once again, I know it doesn't really look like a blender. I'm kind of just Chef Curry with the pot right there. But I could see that coming a couple minutes into the game. Who knows with Jay Woodcroft? Like we said, D pairings, once again, stay the same as Philip Broberg continues to stay in the AHL. You know me, I'm a Reddit guy, so I'm always scrolling Reddit. I saw some things today in the Oilers game day talk. People just bitching about Vinny Desharnais, and they wanted to see Ben Gleason or Broberg back up. Tyler, we talked about it before. If you send Vinny down, I'm quite certain he's getting claimed. We said the Leafs were interested in him for Sam Lafferty before. I have no problem with Vinny Desharnais spot in the lineup right now. Where do you come out on that?
Yeah, I'm fine with it. Like he was playing more trustworthy minutes than Philip Broberg before Broberg was sent down. I love the upside of Broberg. I really do. I'm going to keep myself in the camp of one day this is a guy with top 4 potential. I do still believe that. But right now, the mistakes are just happening too much with him. The bad changes, the poor decisions on the rush. So again, Woody's going to the guy he can trust more. Vinny, he can trust more. Is the upside, is the ceiling there? No, Vinny Desharnais is never going to be anything more than a 5'6" defenseman, 5'6", 5'7" defenseman in the NHL. Right now, that's where the Oilers need him. Right now, that's where he's playing, and he gives you good minutes in that spot. So he's a safe play. He's not a high upside play. But when you watch this Oilers blue line and the bad pinches from Bush and the bad pinches from Ceci, Ekholm's been slow off the rush. Kulak's been making poor decisions with the puck in the offensive zone. You know what? Having someone who's trustworthy back there, that's probably a pretty good decision.
I am A-okay with a nice, huge stay-at-home defenseman playing third pairing minutes. I love Vinny. And you always see him out at the bars, too. Who doesn't like that? I got a couple more Oilers-related things, but I think we're going to bookmark that. We're going to throw that to the end of Pregaming because, Tyler, we've got a special guest today to talk about the Sharks lineup, and it is brought to you by Greta Bar Yeg. You know I love Greta. Greta's the best. I actually have these right here. I put this on social media before. We got these new Greta crew cards here at the Nation. They've got discounts galore for us. So you people might not be able to get one of these, but you know that I live at Greta. So if you come out and you see me, you tap me on the shoulder and you say, Bordsy, I need a 50% off beverage with you. Hey, I might even, depending if the Oilers win, I might even be buying. Who knows? I love Greta. Greta is the best. So our special guest today is none other than JD Young of Locked On Sharks. He's a beauty. Look at that Thomas Hertl jersey right behind him. Look at that. It's one of the few names I still do know on the Sharks. But JD, how are you doing? Are you looking forward to this toilet bowl tonight?
This is the game where the contenders and the pretenders separate themselves. Who really wants to tank this season? And yeah, I'm very excited for what I think is going to be an absolute Oilers beatdown tonight.
Tyler, you got one?
Yeah. I was just going to say, like, it's going to be a long season for this Sharks team here. And I know that might be rich coming from a guy who's watching and covering a team that is one slot ahead of him. But there's been some ugly nights here. And I think an interesting debate I've had a few times is being out of games that quickly, is that a bad thing for the kids on the roster? And I guess for you, someone who's watching and covering this team closely, what's been the mindset of this team? Like, have they largely been staying positive? Do you think this is having a negative effects on some of the kids in their lineup, or is David Quinn still sending the right message here?
I think the message that you heard from Mike Greer, who had a sit down in a one-way conversation with the team the other day, was this is not acceptable. And yes, the Sharks are a bad team, and they are going to be one of the worst teams in the NHL. And that is the best thing for the franchise, to be honest, is to continue to gather high picks. But you can't be losing 10-1, 10-2. That just, you're not able to see anything out of your kids because you're playing, catch up hockey from behind 8 goals. So you saw a much better response against the Flyers, where the team, yes, they finally got their first win. But I think just kind of being like a normal bad team, not being a historically bad team, is the best thing for this franchise right now. And hopefully we will continue to see a response, and now more of these 10-2 type of losses where the game's over 5 minutes into the game, because guys like William Eklund, you have seen a lot of promise out of him, and he has been playing well despite the production not being there, with 2 goals and assists this season. But he has been one of the 2-3 best Sharks forwards this season, and you just don't want to discourage guys like that who have been playing well and have been doing all the little things that you want to see as they continue to kind of grow and be pieces of your next Sharks core. But yeah, no more 10-2 losses.
Yeah, hey, can only go up from here. And I think that's something both of us, or all 3 of us here, can relate to. You can't get worse, right? But I wanted to ask, when times are tough like this, you're always looking for a bright spot, a lone bright spot. Who is that bright spot on the San Jose Sharks team right now? And yeah, who do you think it is right now?
I mean, William Eklund personally, but since I just talked about him, I'm going to talk about Mackenzie Blackwood, who the Sharks acquired from the Devils this offseason for a 6th-round pick. And he has been, I know the numbers aren't the greatest. It's a 892 save percentage, closing on 5 goals against, but he has been spectacular this season. In games where he's not getting pulled because it's not the way he's playing, it's just more of a team response. But he has seen multiple games where he's facing 40, 50 shots a game. Against the Panthers a couple weeks ago, he faced 21 high danger saves. 21 high danger shots. 19 saves on that. That's like a goalie's week's worth of work right there, and he's doing that in a night and kind of keeping the Sharks team afloat. He says he's fully healthy, and you can see it, right? This is the guy that Devils fans were excited way back in 2019 when he kind of first broke on the scene, and he has been one of the bright spots for the Sharks because of, especially with how poor the goaltending's been basically since their 2016-2017 Cup run, after when Martin Jones turned into a pumpkin, basically. So I know we've had flashes of James Reimer, but Blackwood has been an absolute bright spot, especially if you look at the cost to acquire him and then kind of the expectations on him. He has been lights out for the Sharks.
Great. Well, I want to talk to you about trading Mackenzie Blackwood. But I'm looking at this Sharks team, and again, this is maybe a bit more of like a bigger picture philosophical question here, but they're tearing this thing down. Trade Carlson, trade Burns. But the one thing when I look at their cap friendly page, like with a lot of these rebuilding teams, you'll go, oh man, they got 2 first-rounders this year, 2 next year, 4 second-rounders. The Sharks don't have that. They have the conditional first from Pittsburgh that, I mean, they should get this year in all likelihood, a second-rounder from New Jersey this year, but not a lot
if
of...
they do make the Eastern Conference Finals, that does become a first this year. So go Devils.
Yeah. But again, like, it would make
Mhm.
sense for them to stockpile some picks. And I look at the fact that they have $35 million in cap space for next year, and I go, maybe they're in a spot where they can take on some bad contracts. The Oilers have some of those. Do you think Mike Grier is going to put himself in a position where he, sends out the flare that, hey, I'm open for business. I'll take bad deals if you're willing to give me a first-round pick or 2?
Yeah, and he's said that too. I mean, he's going to do what's best for the team, and if it does require taking on some bad contracts and kind of eating some money for some other bad teams, that's going to be kind of what he's willing to do right now. And he's looking for picks, but he's also looking for NHL, like close to NHL ready prospects. Where you look at the Timo Meier deal. Yes, getting the first round pick last year, which turned into Quentin Musty, and then a conditional. But you get Shakir Mukhamadullin, who's really close to kind of making his NHL debut and has been looking really good with their AHL affiliate, the San Jose Barracuda. So I think with Grier, like, he doesn't want this to be like a Red Wings 6, 7, 8, 9 years type of deal, where he would like to get back to being competitive sooner rather than later. So, but yeah, I think for him, it may not just be picks. I think it's if you can get those high quality prospects as well, or that would be appetizing. But yeah, he has set himself in position to kind of take on some other people's bad contracts if you're willing to kind of make it worth his while.
Do you think, I guess I'm just going to ask, I see it in the chat here everywhere. Do you think that you could see them taking on a Jack Campbell-like contract? Tyler, what did we present earlier today was our trade option?
We were armchair spitballing like a first Broberg and Campbell for Mackenzie Blackwood, like fill a couple of future holes for the Sharks. Oilers solve their goaltending, but San Jose, like, that's a lot of term on that contract, which is the dagger.
That is a lot of term, and that has been kind of the thing, right? Even like if you go back to the Erik Karlsson trade, and a lot of people are like, why don't you just eat more contract to be able to kind of get a better, and I think Grier has a plan, right? You mentioned they're going to have $35 million in cap space. They don't really have any major outstanding free agents. They don't really lock up any of their long-term pieces like an Eklund or Will Smith or anything like that for years to come. So if Grier wants to be aggressive in the free agency market, he can. They're eventually Brent Burns' contract will come off. You'll start to see a little bit of a help with the Martin Jones buyout coming out. But a guy like Campbell, I don't know, especially with that term. I think that term kind of feels a little long for a team like the Sharks, who, again, it's what, 3 years, or how many years left is it? It's 4 years left. I think you would have to make it really, really worth your while for Mike Grier to move on that, because I think he pictures in like 2 to 3 years this team being much more competitive than where they are at.
Let me ask you about the new addition, Kalen Addison, to the San Jose Sharks. Just made a trade. What was it, yesterday or today or whatever?
Yes.
What can you tell me about him, and where does he kind of fit into the future of this team? Because everything seems so up in the air in San Jose.
Yeah, I really like this move for the Sharks. After Erik Karlsson was traded in the offseason, they didn't really have anybody on the roster on the blue line who could be a puck moving defenseman, and they've run a myriad of options during the power play, including the 5 forward unit. You've had Kyle Burrows running your power play 1, and Kalen Addison, he's going to get an opportunity here to kind of be the guy for a little bit, or while guys like Shakir Mukhamadullin continue their development path. And he's your PP1 quarterback, game 1 here, and going to be playing first line minutes with Mario Ferraro. Again, he's only 23. He's a former second-round pick, and I know he kind of got squeezed out in Minnesota a little bit, especially with Brock Faber coming along, and maybe wasn't kind of part of what they're looking for right now. We know the Wild kind of like to continue to have grit. They do look like those type of guys, and I don't know if maybe he fit that, but I think he's going to get a long runway, at least for this season, see what he's got, see what he can do to kind of add to the Sharks, and just give them some stability, especially along the power play, which has been very, very up and down. They've given up a league leading, I think, 31 shot attempts already in 12 games on the power play. which is hashtag bad, giving up 31 shot attempts in 12 games when you're on the power play. So hopefully having a guy like him who can kind of maybe settle things down. The Wild's power play was kind of middle in the pack last year, but it should be able to add a little bit of a boost to the Sharks power play.
I wanted to talk to you about the blue line again. Like, Oilers fans can relate to Sharks fans in such a unique way because we watched rebuilding hockey way longer than any fan base ever should. And the one thing that always happened, and you always felt for him, was, man, we had defensemen that would get run out there in top pairing or top four rules that just didn't. They weren't ready for it at all. But God bless them. They went out there and handled 20 minutes of tough hockey every night and got caved most of the time. Who are the guys on the Sharks blue line who are really trying to keep it afloat? Is there anyone there who's really pulling a lot of weight that could maybe help shut down the Oilers tonight?
I think one guy who's actually been a pleasant surprise is actually the aforementioned Kyle Burrows this season. I very much plays a very blue collar kind of gritty style of defense, but I've been pretty impressed with the way he kind of handles his business tonight. But it's Mario Ferraro has been kind of a very hotly debated defenseman among Sharks fans if he's actually good or not. You look at him and some nights you're like, okay, I can kind of see it, and then some nights you're like, dude, what are you doing? Mark-Edward Vlasic is just a shell of his former self and has I think many Sharks fans would be happy if he announced his retirement tomorrow. But like Jan Ruda's been up and down. It's been a hot mess, especially because they just struggle getting the puck out of their own zone. And anytime a team kind of starts to build that momentum, it's just shift after shift after shift where they just cannot get it out of their own zone. I think if the Oilers really can kind of establish the offense early, it could be a very long night for San Jose tonight.
Well, I sure hope it is, JD. Before I let you go, I want to ask you one last time, what's your score prediction for tonight? And give me an anytime goal scorer from the Sharks.
I'm going to go 5-2 Oilers. And give me I'm going to go Duclair. Duclair's starting to be coming on for the Sharks. Him and LeBanc had some nice chemistry. Give me a Duclair goal and give me a Hurdle goal especially with William Eklund and Hurdle finally paired together. Those are my two goal scorers for the Sharks. But yeah, 5-2 Oilers, and I don't think it's particularly close tonight.
There you heard it, folks. Sprinkle on a little bit else. If you're not confident in the Oil, hey, you can cheer for that. JD, thank you very much for joining us. Once again, JD Young of Locked On Sharks. You're the man. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
There it is. Once again, that is the Sharks lineup brought to you by Greta. Greta is the best. We love Greta. I just want to do more Crown Royal shots now that we start one, Tyler. It's been a good time.
Yeah.
But catching up in the chat here, Sergeant Battle here wrote, drip per 60 is sky high with BORDZY. I swear that's the first one I just looked over and read. I didn't have that one starred. But hey, I appreciate that, boys. Thank you very much. Oh, I love Aaron's costume today. Long haul trucker, killing it on air and the costume game. Hey, I might have another costume for you if the game doesn't go the way we want it to go tonight. Tyler, yes, I did pick up what we talked about before, but hopefully that won't come to it. Let's move along here to our starting goaltenders matchup, and that is brought to you by Sherwood Power Sports and Marine. They used to be known as Free Spirit Marine and Power Sports since 1985. They're teaming up with the good folks at Sherwood Ford to rename to Sherwood Power Sports and Marine. Brand new state-of-the-art facility in the heart of Sherwood Park, across from Millennium Place. I am not too far from there right now, as we are back in Bordsy's home. A sick all-black exterior in the building, 91,000-liter test pool. It's the best. You can service your boats. It will be open in February 2024. It'll be a good time. I can't wait to get out there and do some shows from there, from that test pool, Tyler. But okay, Gavin, if you could throw it up for me. Our starting goaltenders matchup tonight. Yes, it's going to be Stuart Skinner. Everybody, I know we called up Cal Pickard. To be fair, if there was ever a game that you were going to play your new AHL call-up goalie, I really thought it was going to be tonight. Really thought that one kind of wrote itself there, but hey, I'm not Jay Woodcroft. I'm the guy doing this from his spare room on YouTube. So we got that. You see the numbers there. 1-4-1 with a 3.99 goals against for Stu with an 856 save percentage. Then it's Mackenzie Blackwood. It looks eerily similar, 161 record with a 427 goals against, but a higher save percentage than Stuart Skinner. His is very close to that 9. You know that's all I ever want. Tyler, what do you think of the decision to go with Stu tonight? I know a lot of Oil fans were pretty pissed off about this one today.
Okay, so there's two things, right? There's Cal Pickard's experience, right? Do you want to give him a game in the NHL? This is a great chance to do so. Stuart Skinner's confidence. Do you want to get his confidence back up? This is a great game to do so. He's traditionally played very well in San Jose, got his first career shutout there. To me, I think right now, just where the team's at, you need to value Stuart Skinner's confidence more than Cal Pickard's, comfort in the NHL. Eventually, yeah, you're gonna have to give this guy a game. That point will come. Tonight, a win's more important. And Stuart Skinner, despite his poor play, he gives you a better chance to win the night than Pickard. If you win tonight, you go with Stu on Saturday. And then maybe if you've won 2 or 3 in a row, if you can beat the Islanders, maybe then you consider going with Pickard. But you got to right the ship before you start getting cute, Aaron.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going with Skinner all the time. He's the guy we said this month. This is gut check time right now. Okay. I know Pickard. I loved your line the other day when you said, hey, the puck is the same size in the AHL as it is the NHL. I agree. If Skinner slips and we see that, I would even be okay to see him on Saturday when you're in Seattle. But maybe you wouldn't want to see that when you're there. You want to see your best foot forward. But Dustin Schwartz, the hot seat talk for him really cooled down. It's so funny in this market because, we lose on Monday. It's Stuart Skinner in the net, right? But Jack Campbell goes down, and we all like, oh, problem solved. Everything's good. Everything's ready to go. He didn't even play in the game, people. So it still hasn't been fixed. But it really seems like it quieted the hot seat talk. Temperature check for you, Ty, on that. Dustin Schwartz.
I'm sick of it. We've talked about it so much, right? And not to say that the conversation isn't needed, because it is. I get it. I get the people who are mad. It's a very easy thing to target. Goaltending sucks. We've changed the goalies before. Goaltending still sucks. What's the constant? The goalie coach, right? Sure, makes sense. I don't know how much a goalie coach can help in this situation, so I kind of just shrug it off. But it is a results-driven business. At some point, someone's got to pay the price for this. And while countless head coaches have gone in and out, Schwartz is the one guy who stayed. So I get it. I'm not saying it's a bad complaint. I'm not saying it's a bad take to have. I just have a hard time making the argument myself in the spot I'm in, because it's like, it's the chicken or the egg? Are the goalies bad and that's why they play bad and even Dustin Schwartz can't fix them? Or are the goalies good but the goalie coach is tanking them? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. So that's just kind of why I struggle with it a little bit. One last point on the goalie chat. Do you want Stuart Skinner's career numbers against against San Jose? Because they might leave you feeling pretty good.
3-0, right?
With a 1.01 goals against average and a 958 save percentage.
Woo-wee! Woo-wee! Tyler, that gets me fired up. There was an S word in there too, I'm pretty sure. I followed JD Young on Twitter today, and I saw he tweeted that out. And I was like, hey, thank you. He's cheering for the Oilers right there, giving me a little confidence in that. Mackenzie Blackwood in the crease for the Sharks. It's tough to judge a guy. We heard it from JD right there. He thinks he's been one of the few bright spots on the team. Always hard to judge a guy when you're on such a, forgive my language, a dog shit team, that your numbers can be so inflated. Like, you see his save percentage are 890, but his goals against are 4. I think that's the product of playing on a team that loves to give up 10 goals a game. Mackenzie Blackwood, where's your fear level tonight? As we see a backup in Jonathan Quick. That's obviously 10. Mackenzie Blackwood is a starter, right? So we can't get goalied.
Yeah, and he's a guy who's had good seasons in his career, never mind just good stretches. And this year has not gone well for the Sharks, but Mackenzie Blackwood's put in some really impressive games. I'm looking at his game logs here. Faced 52 shots in their season opener against Colorado, stopped 51 of them. Faced 41 against Washington on October 29th, stopped 39 of them. Faced 39 against the Flyers, stopped 38 of them. They were decent chances too, right? So it's just, yeah, could they get goalied tonight? Absolutely. But if you're the Oilers, no more getting goalied, right? It's time to start finding the back of the net a little bit here and making the other team's goalies' lives a bit more difficult. They need to absolutely pour it on.
Yep, exactly. I thought it was funny today. Jay Downton, the man, the myth, the legend, the guy who helped build this empire that we have become. He said Skinner needs to shave his mustache. Now, as a mustache guy, obviously, I'm not down with that. But he was saying that he needs to change something up. You're definitely not doing that in November, but I don't know. Does he need to try something different? We talked about today: new facial hair, new pads, give him a new locker stall. I don't care what it is. Where is your confidence level, Stuart Skinner, tonight to start to turn this around? Or are we going to be in the first period and he lets in two softies and me and you are texting each other going, shit, I'm not looking forward for After Dark to rip this guy once again?
I'll say I'm at a 6. Like, I really believe in Stuart Skinner as the goalie of the future of this team. It's why I've kind of been cold on the idea of going and getting a Jordan Binnington, because I'm like, don't go add an Albatross contract. Go grab a guy who's cheap and effective, not just some dude who might be easier to acquire. I believe in him. That being said, this season's not gone well, and he's given up a lot of goals that are very uncharacteristic of Stuart Skinner. So he's got to earn it to an extent. That's why I'm not at an 8 or a 9. But if it was Jack Campbell tonight, I'd be at a 1. Like, I'm that much more confident in Skinner's ability to turn it around.
I said if I saw Jack Campbell in an Oilers jersey ever again on the ice this season, then I was going to lose it. So we've avoided spicy BORDZY. Hey, we haven't got that. I saw a lot of guys in the chat here asking if I can give them a basement Discord tour as well. I'm upstairs, people. My bedroom is actually one over. I used to sleep in this room, but now it's just a spare room. And I turn it into a nice little thing. So, hey, if we get over 100 likes, I'll Discord. I'll give you a photo of the setup right here. Got to tease me a little bit, Ty. You did it.
Yeah. I get it. There's a comment in the YouTube I want to get to quickly, and it was about Dustin Schwartz, and it said, ask Talbot, ask Dubnyk. And again, like, that's just where this gets a little bit, the discourse is just unbelievable, because you look at Cam Talbot's stats. He comes to Edmonton, his first full season. He played 56 games in his first season here, 255 goals against average, 917 save percentage. In his second year with the team, his numbers got better, 919 and 239. A calendar year of working with Dustin Schwartz, his numbers got better. And then his third season was fine. It wasn't great, but it was fine. And then his fourth season is really where things fell apart in that 2018-19 season. Was he overplayed? Was it other circumstances? I don't know. And then he went to Philly, wasn't good in his short stint in Philly, played a little bit in Calgary in 1920 and was good. But, like, look, he was dog shit in Ottawa last year and he couldn't stay healthy. Devin Dubnyk left Edmonton and then had to go to 2 other stops before finally getting to Sean Burke. And Arizona's the team that saved him, not the other 2 stops. So, again, like the Talbot thing. So he got better his first year under Schwartz, was fine in his third year, and his fourth year sucked. So that means the goalie coach is bad because a guy got better for 2 years and then fell apart. Like, I don't know. I just think it's too easy of a thing to point to and say that guy's the problem. Like, yeah, he probably at this point, yes, probably deserves to be moved on from. But is he the reason this team is 2-7-1? He's not. Like, let's be real here.
Yeah, we'll never know. We say today, I'm not in the room. I've never been in a goaltender room or a goaltender meeting. So I feel like the people that are just keep going on this Dustin Schwartz thing, maybe they got nothing else, no other drum to beat. I don't know. We'll never know. Let's maybe not waste our energy on that kind of talk. You see Travis Smith in here says, shout out Trappers. Damn right, baby. That's what you get when you're a lifetime Edmontonian, Tyler. Years of pain as an Oiler fan, but you get some pretty sweet pennants behind you. I also have an Edmonton Eskimos one as well. Got my foam finger I pointed out earlier. That's what we do in here. Everybody in this chat is getting extra funny. They want a BORDZY basement tour, a BORDZY house tour. These guys are crazy, and I love every bit of it. But okay, we got about 10 minutes left here, so I think it's time. We get into a little Betway, 19 plus. Please play responsibly. Gavin, if you could whip up for me here some full screen stats. We love Betway. It's my number one go-to app. You got it all there. The Edmonton Oilers are ranked 5th in the NHL in shots on goal per game this season. Yeah, you did read that right. The Sharks are ranked dead last in the league in defending shots on goal, 37.7 shots per 60. Wonder what that one might be looking towards. San Jose is allowing 4.58 goals per game, dead last in the NHL. The Oilers' power play will see high-quality chances tonight as the Sharks are ranked 28th in the NHL on the PK. Draisaitl has 2+ points in 3 of the last 4 games against San Jose. Then it's an Evander Kane revenge game. He's been nothing but hot. I saw somebody in the chat before said Evander Kane Hattie. He's more than overdue. I hate how much I agree with that, but Kane is consistently finding the net as he is generating 4 shots on goal per game over his last 4. Evander Kane also potted 1 goal the last time the Sharks and Oilers faced off, which was April 13th of last season. So, ladies and gentlemen, drum roll. Pull it up for me, Gavin. Bordzy's bankroll. Once again, if you're new here, we give you 3 bets. Gavin's going to throw it in the YouTube poll. You're all going to vote and decide my fate and whether I become rich or poor tonight. I'm throwing down on a lot of things tonight, but this will be one. Our first option is the Edmonton Oilers 37+ shots on goal. It's only -125, but from those statistics we saw, Oilers ranked 5th in shots and the Sharks dead last in shots on goal. Feel pretty good about that one right there. Second one, Leon Draisaitl, 2+ points at -105. Leon needs a bounce back game. This is a get right game. I know I've said this for like the last 3 games in a row. I'm like a broken record, but hey, this one's the one. I mean it. And then the last one, Kane anytime goal at +125. Revenge game factor. Tyler, which one do you like the most right here?
I like 37+ shots. Like, again, the payouts on all of these aren't amazing. I know they're like Kane +125. Okay, Draisaitl seems like a good spot too, but there's nothing where you're chasing the juice. So I like taking the safest play of the bunch. The stat there, Sharks averaging over 37 shots against the game. Oilers been pouring rubber on net as of late. Like, I'll be honest, I bet this against Vancouver when the line was 32, and when they had 19 in the first 10 minutes or whatever, kicked my feet up at the Rogers Arena and I was chilling. So I really like this bet. There's another one I like, but I'll let you give me your pick here. What do you like?
I think that I'm going with Kane anytime goal. I'm a sucker for that plus sign. I really am, and I really shouldn't be. I mean, I'm going to bet with whatever one that they let me go with here. But let's say right now, it's quite tight. Kane goals leading with 39%, then it's 34%, 27%. So we got to let this one cook. We got to let this one cook a little bit, see what happens in the lab. Everybody get your votes in. If you vote, you can also like the video. It's the exact same easy way. You just tap your finger. Don't believe me? Test it out. Try it on your own. Tyler, you just mentioned another bet. I'm looking to make money because I have been spraying and praying and losing everything this season. Please help me. What do you got for me?
Okay, the San Jose Sharks have been outscored in the first period this year, 16-5. In the second period, 20-5. In the third period, 19-4. If you think the Oilers are going to blow out the Sharks, you could bet on them to go over 4.5 goals. That pays out, I think, +110 or somewhere in that range. You could bet on them -2.5 goals to win by 3 or more. That pays out, again, similar kind of range here. We're talking about +150 or something. You could take them to win every single period. So they have to win every period, not just tie it, but win it. And it goes and pays out +500. We're talking 5-1 here, Bordsy. That is very, very good to me. I like that. If you're going to chase any sort of juice, yeah, you could go on Betway, look at the pre-built bets and, parlay a handful of things together, or just take one shot. Oilers to win every period at +500. I think that's the best spot tonight. I think it's a good chance to 5x your money. Again, bet responsibly. Don't go crazy. I don't go crazy. None of us go crazy. Bet within your means. But if you're looking to have a little fun, that's one that in that third period, if it's going, it could be a fun sweat.
That's just a fun little one to sprinkle on. I like sprinkling everything. You got to get a little taste of everything. You got to see one go through the hoop. I see Tyler Mulick says Oilers +4.5. Didn't we talk to Jay earlier today? Wasn't he going to bet something ridiculous spread-wise?
Yeah, he had one of those pre-built bets on Betway that was just insane and super drawn out. So, good luck to him, but I like sticking with my simple one, 5-1.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one. I might sprinkle on that. Currently, I think as Gavin said here in the chat, this is the closest poll yet to date. Evander Kane with 38% of the votes, and then it's Edmonton shots 33 and 29 for the other one. This is going right down to the wire. I also said I like if you can sprinkle on Evander Kane hat trick. Remember last year we talked about how frequently he was due to do. It was like every 8 or 9 games or something. Pretty much since they started spraying on that one, I don't think he scored a hat trick in a very long time. Do you like the revenge factor tonight Evander Kane. I know it says he's on the third line, but like that same line was second line a week ago or whatever. It's just the spine, right?
Yeah, it's the spine. Those three lines should all be relatively even in terms of minutes played tonight, at least at 5-on-5. Power play, penalty kill will be the separators. So yeah, like third line, whatever. It's a top 9 and a fourth line in Edmonton.
Yep. Just looking in the chat here. Lance Kane just said little sprinkle, just a little sprinkle. Hey, that's what you got to do. We have fun. Sergeant Battle. My juice is Oilers money line plus over 6.5 goals.
Okay.
Plus Connor 3+ goals. That's not responsible. That's responsibly nuts. That's not gonna happen.
Connor
Tyler
Hattie, yeah.
Miller, Galen Addison goal. Hey, we're not doing that. What did JD say? Who did he say was going to score?
He had Hurdle because he's playing with Eklund or Duclair.
Yeah, there you go. So if you want to spend on that side, I hope there's no Sharks fans in the chat right now. It's been a pretty loaded sports day as well today, Tyler. Can you believe it? But we're missing out on the Carolina Panthers and Chicago Bears football game tie. Oh, no.
Oh, well, I mean, missing out is certainly a term. On the out-of-town scoreboard, though, Aaron, the Bakersfield Condors are in action right now. They're about 10 minutes into their game with the Abbotsford Canucks, and Jack Campbell did get the start for the Condors. The crowd out in Abbotsford was chanting Campbell early on in the game, apparently, but Stoop stopped the first 2 shots he faced. Hello.
Woo! Bring him back. Bring him back. Let's go. Let's
Start
go. Okay, yeah, we're kind of winding down here. Tyler, do you still need to bounce early to do your little video call?
I do. I never stop. I got another quick podcast hit I want to try sneak in before the start of the show.
Hey, we never stop grinding. I know you're a big avoid the grind guy. Tyler, nobody grinds like you. We're always going. We're going to be going super late tonight. Once again, Oilersnation After Dark will be going when it's dark out, confirmed. That is for sure. If this game, Gavin said it before, he's like, this game's going to go to overtime, isn't it?
Oh, don't say that, dude. Don't
I
say
know.
that.
I shouldn't have said it. But the final results of the poll, Evander Kane, anytime goal at plus 125. Bucket. I'm going to throw down on that. If we end here, I have time to throw it in. That's perfect timing. I want to say thank you to all of our sponsors, Sherwood Ford, Sherwood Power Sports and Marine, Betway, and Greta, and of course, the man behind the computer, Gavin Turnock, who will be with us for Oilers Nation After Dark once again. So good luck, everybody. Get your bets in. Get your Red Bull. And I hope that we are coming back to talk positively, that the Oilers put up 11 goals, and everybody had a point night. That goal differential is back to where it should be. Good luck, everybody, and I will talk to you in just a bit.